What's up? It's Rob Cressy, and I'm super excited to announce the launch of my newest personal brand website, robcressy.com. And on this episode, what I'm going to do is share with you the strategy and mindset behind it all. What are the things that I've learned along this journey that can help you on yours? And I figured the best way that I can start this out is to actually read what I wrote on my post on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, because it'll really frame where I'm going with this and how this can be a positive asset to you. So what I wrote was, I'm really excited about the launch of robcressy.com. This is a destination that has been a lifetime in the making. In one, I created as a way of providing value for others who aspire to do great things. When the pandemic hit, I took inventory of my business, my skill set, and what I love doing. From brand building to mindset to high performance coaching to speaking to launching podcasts. These are all things I was doing with clients on a daily basis that light me on fire with joy. I realized I had so much more to offer that wasn't currently being represented anywhere, so I decided to double down on myself and my brand, because I am a champion for everyone, because I am an accelerator for growth, because I am a positive force for good that leads others to what's possible. In building and investing in my brand, it allows me to better serve others. I'm excited about the future, the new relationships, and the new opportunities that are going to come from this. I want to open an invitation to anyone who would be interested in being in conversation and exploring how I could help make your vision happen. Slide into my DMs and let's see what possibilities we can create, sending good vibes your way. So that's what I posted yesterday, and I want to thank everyone for the overwhelming positive response I received. It really meant a ton to me because, as I mentioned, this has been a lifetime in the making, and more specifically on my entrepreneurial journey, almost 8 years now, getting to this point. And it's a journey that can oftentimes feel very isolating and alone when you're on an island by yourself. Oh, by the way, an island that you created and you decided you wanted to be on. But nonetheless, I really felt the love from everyone. So I wanted to say thank you for that. But what I really wanted to do so that I could provide the most amount of value is share some strategy and insight into my mindset around it. So what can you learn from what I'm doing? Because one of the things that's been always part of who I am in my brand and the content that I create is I've always thought if I can do something and learn how to do something, then I can show others how I did it. And this is exactly the same thing where every step that I take, I'm going to let you know, here's why I took it, here's what I'm doing, and here's the forward-thinking vision for how I see all of this unfolding. So let's start with the first thing, the offerings. When I looked at my business, Bacon Sports is how I started all of this. I've essentially turned an original sports comedy blog into a content studio that creates content, podcast videos, live streaming, social media marketing for brands and companies that want to engage sports fans and build communities. And it's something that day after day, we got really good at creating podcasts, videos, live streams, building communities, and the mindset around all of it. But as I started to learn how to do those things, and I certainly had to learn how to do those things because 8 years ago, I did not know how to do a single thing that I'm doing today. I evolved as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as a coach, and I realized that a lot of what I do on a daily basis with clients wasn't currently being represented with the Bacon Sports website because I am so much more than sports. And one of the things that really stuck out to me from the pandemic was I never thought there would ever be a time in my life where sports didn't exist. And lo and behold, April gets here and COVID hits, and I was like, holy smokes, Batman. There is no sports right now, and my business is built entirely around sports. And I realized I had a weak spot. It was a crazy one. Sports doesn't exist, but I had a weak spot in my business. So I'm like, all right, what am I going to do about this? And I started to look at my skill set and what I was great at and how I can help other people. And I've always had non-sports clients at the same time. Bacon Sports has always been the main thing, but I'd also worked with other companies because a lot of what we do is extremely transferable. Because if I want to create a sports podcast for someone, I can very easily create an entrepreneurial podcast for someone or a real estate podcast for someone. And what I've evolved and realized over the years is I love helping people and I love telling stories and I love helping people achieve their visions. So while I love living in the world of sports and sports betting and fantasy sports, I also really get lit up inside when I get to work with someone in an industry that is not sports and I get to help them achieve what they want. And certainly on the podcasting side of things, this really lights me up because I know the results that are on the horizon for the companies that work with me or the people that work with me because I've seen it for myself. And certainly in non-traditional industries. So I've worked with a 7 and 8 figure Amazon mastermind company. I've worked with a construction and building design company. Just all these things that you're like, you would really do something like that. And what I loved about it was the thinking and mindset that I had that I learned in originally being a publisher and then evolving to a content studio. I could apply that to the way that they want to market themselves and become thought leaders. And guess who is not thinking that way? Everybody else in those industries. So by design, I gave the companies that worked with me a huge advantage because everybody else was thinking differently in the same. And when I mean differently, they weren't thinking the way we were in this conversation. So immediately it gave them an opportunity to differentiate because a lot of these industries, why in the world would I create podcasts or videos or YouTube shows or LinkedIn shows? That doesn't make any sense. But one of the blessings that has happened from the pandemic is everything became so digital. No longer were we working with each other in a location. Instead, everything's on Zoom. Well, guess what the number one way that I've recorded podcasts for years is? That's right. Zoom. So immediately a gigantic barrier got broken down in terms of what people could see for their potential as a creator, as a thought leader, as a brand builder. Because when I told them, yeah, I'm going to help you build a podcast and we're going to do it via Zoom, the fear that was there 1 year ago, 3 years ago, 8 years ago for a lot of people and companies was no longer there because they're like, all right, I've already been talking to my parents or my sisters or my friends on Zoom. So now that was a big advantage for me. So with all of this, I created robcressy.com as a way to better represent all of that because I didn't want to just send people to the Bacon Sports website because that is such a sports-focused website. As I mentioned, I talk about entrepreneurship, mindset, speaking gigs, high-performance coaching. These are all things that I have clients doing on a daily basis that I just didn't have anywhere, it just didn't live anywhere. So I wanted to create that so I could be more intentional. And through my journey in building Bacon Sports, one of the things that I often got and still do, it's like, Rob, I don't understand what you do. And part of that's because I'm the little engine who could. I just kept on building and learning and doing and evolving. And what I do is unique. It's different in a good way. And I don't need everybody to understand what my dreams are because I know how I'm getting down. But with this new website, with my name being on it, I can do whatever in the world I want because it's my name. So it gave me a great opportunity to create a destination for all of the things that are not currently represented out there that light me up on fire that I can help other people with. So in terms of my offerings, what I did is I broke this down into 3 very simple sections. And for me, my mindset in brand building and specifically in building a website is simplicity. I love simplicity in everything. And really, it's part of the way that I teach everything that I do with mindset, podcasting, coaching, brand building is actually to take something that's super complex and let's make it super simple and super digestible, because that's the easiest way that we can make it happen. Just one step at a time, one step at a time. And it just so happens for me, it was 8 years of one step at a time, one day at a time to get to this point. So when I identified the 3 areas that I was most lit up on, number 1, speaking. Number 2, mindset. Number 3, podcast coaching. So when it came to speaking, number 1, Rob as a podcast host. I currently host 4 podcasts. The Playbook, presented by FanFood, the Sharp 600 sports betting podcast from Covers.com, the Sports Marketing Huddle podcast, as well as Leadership DNA alongside Arturo Gomez, where we break down the blueprint for leadership to help you be a better leader. So I've got a lot of experience and I live this. So boom, you can hire me to be your podcast host. At the same time, I also do keynote speaking. I've been a keynote speaker. I've emceed events. As you can tell, I've got a certain energy and flavor to the way that I do things. And up until this point, the majority of the way that I landed those things was referral based. People listen to my shows or they know me through the business dealings, and that's how I got things. But I wanted to be more intentional about this because I wanted to build around all of this. I saw the building of this website as structure and foundation for myself, and it was oh so important because I'm going to build on top of this. So that's the speaking side of things. Number 2, the mindset side. And anybody who has consumed any of my content knows how big I am into mindset, because for me, it is the absolute game changer of all game changers. Because when I left my digital advertising sales job 8 years ago and became a full-time entrepreneur, building the world in my image, I quickly became self-aware. And it's one gift that I wish I could give everyone is self-awareness. And I realized, holy smokes, this is all on me now. I need to be better in all areas of my life. So I audited the success habits of the most successful people, the people that I aspired to do things like. And I just kept on learning and learning and learning and evolving and getting better. And then once I got that growth mindset, I had this hunger inside of me that would just never stop. And when you're working on your dream and you have this vision of what you want to accomplish, whether you're starting at zero or you're already crushing it at millions of dollars, there's always an opportunity to get better. So for me, that's what I specialized in, because I learned very early on in this journey, one thing that can never be taken from you is your mindset and what you learn. It's why I've read for 30 minutes every single day for 8 straight years, first thing in the morning, because I knew no matter what else happened, the number of rejections that I got, the challenges that would face me in terms of building teams and revenue and all of those different things, no matter what else happened, no one could ever take from me the things that I learned. And I learned right away that negativity was not going to serve me. So when you see me, such a positive guy, sending out these good vibes, it's why the first thing that you see on robcressy.com, it says, get inspired. Because for me, I am the leader of Team Good Vibes, because negativity is not going to help me or you get to where we want to go any faster. And since negativity does not serve us, it has no place in my life, nor should it have any place in your life. And that's the foundation of everything that I believe in as a person, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, and that I bring to the table with everybody that I work with. And this is an extremely important differentiator and point of value that I bring to the table, because energy is transferable. You can feel it right now. You can hear this. You can see this in the way that I'm passionate and enthusiastic about everything that I do. Well, guess what? All of that comes down to mindset. So now let's break that down into each little micro nugget of the things that I've learned for how to be a higher performer. And I do that for both individuals as well as teams. And the results are phenomenal, because all I have to do is say, listen, here's the things that I have done to become a high performer. What is it you want to accomplish? What are you struggling with? What would you like to achieve? And then we're like, cool, let's be intentional about each of these different areas. And it's something where you can turn what is a perceived limitation or a weakness or an obstacle for yourself, and all of a sudden you're like, boom, I see that, I'm now better at this. Boom, I see that, I'm now better at this. And all of a sudden you're like Neo in the Matrix, where you just keep learning more and more and more things. That's how the mindset side comes into play. And I really get lit up when I talk about mindset, because I live the results of this on a regular basis. If you like anything that you've seen from me, this all comes from the mindset of it. And it's why I try and share it so much, because I like to share on my journey the things that I've learned that can help you on yours. And so often we're looking for answers for how do I ... become more successful, make more money, create a podcast, build a multi-million-dollar company, all of these different things. And the simplest thing is, it can cost $0 for you to improve your mindset. Be intentional about it. And of course, we can help accelerate that growth, because that's what I do. I'm a growth engine where I'm going to accelerate that growth. I'm going to help you do things faster. I'm going to help you see possibilities and visions you didn't even know existed. And the reason I can do that is because I've experienced this myself. And I think back, and I was actually sharing the website with my wife's parents last night, and I could not have launched this same personal brand website 8 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, because I didn't learn what I needed to learn to get to this point, to be able to create that site financially, mentally, from a client perspective, where I believe in everything that I do. My clients believe in everything that I do. And this website represents who I am and what I can do to add value to your life. And it's one step, one day at a time. And that's what the journey is. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a challenging thing, but it's a beautiful thing. So let's get to the last part of this in terms of the offerings. And that's the podcast coaching. And when I started my entrepreneurial journey, someone said to me, Rob, if you ever hope to get paid to do what you love, you better be doing it already. And I was like, all right. From that moment, I taught myself podcasting, video, being a host, live streaming, editing, throwing events, apparel, social media marketing, community building. I got better at sales. I got better at relationship building. I got better at mindset. You name it, I got better at doing it, because at that time when I first started, I dreamed of the day where I would get paid to talk about sports for a living. That's what my dream always was: be creative and work in sports. Someone was going to pay me to talk about sports for a living. And the only way anyone is ever going to pay me to talk about sports for a living is if I'm already talking about sports for a living. So what's the way that I need to do that? Boom, podcasting. And this is before everyone really started podcasting. And it was a way for me to start getting my reps. And it's like over and over and over again. And I'm selling that belief in myself. And I'm selling that belief to others. And I'm putting it out there. And I'm putting it out there. And we go from 10 to 100 to 200 to 300 to 400 to 500 to 600 to 700 podcasts and videos and articles. And it's just over and over and over and over again. And there is no stop to this, because it's what I love to do, and podcasting and video and brand building is the vehicle for me to continue to build my dreams and what I want to accomplish. And the same can be true for you. So for me, why I'm so passionate about this and why I do all of this is because I always am reminded of that. If you ever hope to get paid to do what you love, you better be doing it already. And if you think about it from the speaking side of things, at some point, anyone who's ever a speaker or an MC, we've never done it before. And I think about both my first time on a stage as a speaker and also my first time as an MC. And you're like, holy smokes, I've never done this before. And there's a lot of people looking at me. And there's a lot of people trusting me that I'm going to do an amazing job. And you've got to walk towards that fear. It's why I'm always talking about get comfortable being uncomfortable, because the more often you walk towards that fear, you realize, boom, I can overcome that. That ain't no thing. And side note, this is also something that I really preach on the sports betting side of things. Everyone loves to bet the Kansas City Chiefs all the time. Boom. But where you really succeed in sports betting is when you get comfortable being uncomfortable, because Vegas doesn't build casinos by only allowing the public to win on favorites. Sometimes you've got to look ugly at the things that people don't see. In that sports betting mindset, what are the things that people don't see? That permeates in everything that I do from a marketing and a content and a brand building standpoint. I want to see the things that other people don't see, and I want to put the people who work with me in a position to succeed by helping them see the things that they don't see in themselves and in the market in front of them, because that's how we get ahead, by being forward thinking. Woo! So, next thing I want to talk about is the timing around all of this. And this is actually extremely important because it's a lesson that continually shows up throughout my entire journey, where, all right, we're in the middle and somewhere in a pandemic. And when all of this, a lot of business and revenue went away for the majority of industries, certainly in the world of sports, but everywhere was hit. And we saw companies laying people off or furloughing people, unfortunately. My heart goes out to everyone for that. And the world of business was shrinking and contracting, and you see the world of media, and they were just publishing so much negativity. It was just noise and bad, shrinking. And there's this culture and there was this weight to everything that's going on. And it's like, man, everything's down and bad in 2020. When is this year going to be over with? And I just saw that. Remember what I said foundationally. I am someone who's the leader of Team Good Vibes. Negativity does not serve me and does not serve you. So when all of this pandemic happened, you know what I did? I had blinders on during this. I said, this is my opportunity to make myself. And I think about my favorite book, The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And one of the things that he says in that book, and I'm paraphrasing, is it says, when adversity hits and they open you up inside, is there going to be hot air and bullshit in there? And for me, I was like, there is no way there is. This is going to be the time where I prove that I am the best, that I'm going to set myself and my family and my family's legacy forever up to be in a position to succeed. And this is something that has been so ingrained in my mindset because I'm an entrepreneur. When COVID hit, for me, this was just another series of obstacles in my way. I've had 8 years of obstacles staring me in the face every single day, dealing with that fear and uncertainty all the time. So when all of a sudden the sports world went upside down, companies losing revenue, losing clients, all of this different stuff, I'm like, all right, well, that's just another day of entrepreneurship for me. So now let's figure out a way to make this a positive for me. And it's why I created a podcast. You can check it out on the Sports Marketing Huddle that says, imagine if 2020 was the best year of your life. And guess who is sitting here with the mindset that 2020 is the best year of his life? And guess who has the best year of his life in 2020? Me. That does not mean that every single day and thing that I've touched has been gold, because life does not work that way. I've had major adversities and things happen in my life behind the scenes that very few people know of. But guess what? That is not what defines me. That is not what I focus on. So because of this, I'm like, you know what, Rob? This is the time for you to double down on your brand and who you are. And I'm like, as uncomfortable as that is, let's go. So I started to once again audit my entire business, everything that I'm doing. And you know what I realized? I needed more structure and process to what I did, because the sports world just proved to me that it could go away. So it can go away again, because unprecedented can happen again. So all of a sudden I'm like, I need repeatable systems and processes that can allow me to grow my business and help more people without me having to touch everything. So you know what I did is I hired a coach who helped specialize specifically on this. And in working together, what we decided is, step one, I need to create a personal brand website to where all of this different stuff can live. And number two, in the background, we're building out marketing automation. And what does that mean? I'm going to be a lot more intentional about the content that I create, in the way that I can provide value for others, in the way that I'm going to give open invitations to be in dialogue with me. Because the way that I work with people and help them accomplish what they want all starts with a phone call. So what will it take for me to get someone to say, Rob, I want to be on a phone call with you because I know you can help me? All right, well, I can just create a landing page and just do that, but no one wants to be hit over the head day after day of just jump on a call, jump on a call, jump on a call. A lot of times, most of the time, you need to provide value for people. You need to build a relationship. You need to build that trust. So that's exactly what we did in the back end. We said, let's start with podcasting because we're seeing the most success with this in helping people and companies build their brands. So we started to build out a marketing automation funnel from an email side of things. So it's like, hey, boom, here's something that I've learned about brand building and podcasting. And by the way, you want to launch a podcast? I'll give you the first steps because here's a podcast checklist that you can download to help you on your journey. All I need is your email address. Why do I need your email address? Because I want to be able to communicate with you so I can help you more. This isn't about being sly. If anything, this is me saying I've got to do things and put them in place so I can help you in a way that can allow you to achieve what you want to. So maybe you start with the podcast checklist and you're like, wow, that was really good. But maybe you didn't take action on that. Then boom, there's an email that says, hey, a lot of people who don't start their podcast, there's one question you need to answer. Are you interested or are you committed? Boom. The people who are committed, they're the ones who succeed. And maybe you're like, wow, that actually resonates with me. At the bottom there, it's just going to say, hey, you want to be in dialogue, have a conversation with Rob? Click this link, goes to my calendar. Boom. We be in dialogue, rinse and repeat. So after that first email, maybe there's 10 other emails that say, oh, here's a series of things. So there's this giant spider web in the background that has been built that goes behind this entire website that allows me to speak to the people who are interested in having their vision go to the next level, who want to accelerate their growth. And I'm always someone who's going to provide value all the time, everywhere that I go. And all this is an invitation to connect and take things to the next level. And this is an area that candidly, I've not done a very good job of because I've created, as I mentioned, 700 plus podcasts and videos, and I haven't had a strong call to action in these. And I've always believed I can give and give and give, and eventually it's going to come back and I'm going to receive because that's how karma works. That's how the world works. That's how the people who do business with me works. I've got no problem giving. I love giving. I'm going to give till I die. It's going to be the greatest thing in the world. But guess what? I actually can be a better giver when I let you know what, you can jump on a call with me to talk about X, Y, and Z. And that is something that was a big reframing for me because it was no longer me selling. It was me inviting you to be in conversation, to talk about how we can play together and help you achieve the things. Because the thing that I love about all of this that lights me up inside so much is every single person and company that I work with is an absolute blessing because I know what it was like to work at Fifth Third Bank in a call center, making $10 an hour, selling home equity loans out of college. It was miserable. It was the worst. I was Peter from Office Space. So I know what I do not want. And because of that, I know what I want. And I light up inside and my clients light up inside because by design, I'm going to help them achieve the things that they want to achieve. And the only outcome is greatness for everybody. So to put the button on the timing, all of a sudden pandemic hits and I'm like, you know what, Rob, it's time for you to show what you're really made of. So it took a couple months to put this website together, the copy, the structure, the design. Shout out to my guy, Adam Kipple from 3 Ring Focus. He's been my longtime designer and friend. He has worked on so many of my websites throughout this journey. I love his design. It's simple, it's sleek, it's professional, it gets to the point, and it represents my brand. So I want to give a shout out to him. And it just so happens that we finally got the website done right now on December 2nd. And I'm like, let's go. The timing couldn't be better because it's the end of the year and we're heading into the new year. And once again, everybody out there in the industry slowed down all year. And now it's like, man, when's 2021 going to get here? But guess what I'm thinking? You know what? This is time for me to speed up and add a new asset. And this is something that has been a hallmark of my entire entrepreneurial journey. And this is such a big thing that I want you to take away and think about. Every December, when I was building Bacon Sports, I knew on the client side of things, people were going on vacations. People were going on holidays, starting pretty much from Thanksgiving through the middle of January. The world of business seems to significantly slow down. So as someone who's working to land clients and generate revenue, what do you do when no one responds back to you anymore? Well, you can sit there and you can cry about it, or you can build an asset for yourself. And that mindset is what allowed me to first build a podcast course that allowed me to have a foundation to not only sell a course, but to build a coaching program to help people and companies launch their podcasts. Then I wrote an ebook. Then I built another course. Then I built another course. So every December, I am so excited because I have the time to create an asset so that when January hits and everyone's like, I'm just getting into the swing of things, I'm like, I've been building this machine behind me and I'm so excited. And guess what? Machine year after year after year after year just keeps on getting built. Every single year, new machine, new machine, new machine. Previous years, it was a course. Guess what the machine is this year? A personal brand website, robcressy.com, and a marketing automation system in the background. Boom shakalaka. When others slow down, I speed up because that is how you make things happen. So let's get to the theme of this real quick. And I briefly touched on this, but you're going to see the Get Inspired at the beginning of the robcressy.com website. You're going to see Be Great. I am great. My high performance coaching program, I am great. Why? Because that's a declaration that I say to myself. I declare that I am great. And that's what I declare and want others to think about themselves. Because you can name something, anything. Oh, Rob's high performance program. That doesn't serve anybody because if every time you see it, Rob's high performance program, whatever. But imagine if every time you interact with me, it said, I am great. You know what that does? That consistently reaffirms to yourself, I am great. I am great. Now imagine getting one email a day from me or seeing that once a day for 365 straight days where you read, I am great. I am great. I am great. Boom. That can't help but sit into your head and you start to believe I am great. And I'm proof of this. I'm the person that worked at Fifth Third Bank making $10 an hour. I'm the person who went from digital advertising sales making six figures to making $0. So I understand this transformation that's possible because I'm the transformation and I've done it for others. So that's the theme that you're going to see on the site because I work with people and companies who want to be great, who want to go to the next level, who consistently want to shatter what they think they can achieve and always get better. Because when we work together, the sky is the freaking limit. And what I love about all of this is just the beginning. That's it. This is just my new beginning. And so much potential is on the horizon for everyone. And in building this personal brand website, what this actually allows me to do is to serve you and to serve others better. Because once again, I practice what I preach. So the best thing that I can do to show you the way is to show you the way by living it myself. So now to hire Rob as a keynote speaker or a high performance coach, I no longer have to work just on referrals. I can have something dedicated and intentional out there that allows the people who want this, who want to be in conversation, to work with me and play with me so that we can build on the possibilities and the opportunities. And in the process, it allows me to serve others. This is no longer selling, and this is the big game changer for me. I am no longer selling. I do not sell. I play. I create opportunities. I build worlds. I build brands. And those who want that, those who want to accelerate it, those who want to do it better, those who want to do it faster, clearer, just the greatest thing in the world, that is exactly who I work with. So, As you can tell, I'm super fired up about this. So that is my strategy behind all of this. So as I put a button on this, as this relates to you and your personal brand and how you should be thinking moving forward, remember this: everything you do is a reflection of your brand. From what you're wearing, what your email signature is, what you eat, everything you do is a reflection of your brand. Also, everything you do is an opportunity to create a positive brand interaction. So whether you realize it or not, you have a brand, you have a personal brand that you are building every single day. The majority of the people and companies out there, they are not intentional about it. I, and hopefully you, are very intentional about building your brand. And you start to think about it, you're like, all right, well, what is my brand? What does it mean? What do I stand for? What is my purpose? What matters most to me? What do I love? What lights me up on fire? Get intentional about that. Write that down, because when you write it down, you can start building on top of it. And that's essentially what this site is. I wrote down all of the things that are who I am to attract the people who are like me so we can do awesome things together. And you'll just see from the companies and people that I work with, we have the best relationships because we become friends. And I love them and I want to help them succeed and achieve every vision possible. And I want to rinse and repeat this every single day as many times as I can. And that all starts with being intentional about the building of your brand. So what I want you to do is to think about your brand and where do you want that to be for 2021? What is your brand? And hit me up in the comments. Hit me up at Rob Cressy anywhere on social media. What is your brand and what do you want to accomplish for your brand? Because I started at 0. And if you're starting at 0 with this, guess what? Every day that you build on your brand will get better and great things will happen for you, and just rinse and repeat over and over and over again. And the best time for you to start investing in yourself and your brand is right now. And I will tell you, throughout this journey, it's been scary the majority of the time for me to invest in my brand, where I'm paying coaches dollars to help me get something that I've never done before. And I've never even hired a coach before. You're like, whoa, that's the first thing that you need to overcome. If you've never worked with a coach before, you need to find one coach and work with them for the first time, because what that becomes is an investment in yourself. And you are the best investment you can ever have for yourself. And once you do it once and you see a breakthrough, you're like, holy smokes, Batman. You're like, all right, you become addicted to the growth and the breaking the new levels. But here's the thing. It's always going to be a stretch or a challenge, because that's how you know that you're on the right path. Or you hire a coach, boom, you accomplish something. A year later, you're like, wow, found this awesome coach to do this thing and it's even more money. Whoa, I don't know if I have the money right now. And you start to justify it in the excuses, and I don't know if it's worth it or blah, 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 blah. Guess what? Every single time that I've been in that situation, I've walked towards the fire, towards the fear. And I am batting 100% on success in all of those things. Because you know why? When I walk towards that fear, that is me walking towards my commitment. I say, I know this is an uncertain journey, but there's one thing that I am not uncertain about, and that is myself. And I know that if I set my mind to something, I will accomplish it, and I can do anything. And you rinse and repeat that to new levels, to new levels, to new levels, to where I am today, launching robcressy.com. And every single day I wake up and the first thing that I write is I helped 1 million people. And I remember the LinkedIn video that I created for this, and it scared the crap out of me, And I still feel uncomfortable talking about this to this day, because I needed to quantify my purpose and what I was going to accomplish. And I was like, I want to help a bunch of people. And I was like, I need to create a quantifiable number. And I was like, 1 million. And I'm like, I have no idea how in the world I'm going to help 1 million people. I don't even know how I'm going to quantify this. But you know what? I am going to put this out there on wax, on video. And as uncomfortable as this is for me, that's what I'm going to do. And this was years ago. And all of that discomfort has led me to this point right now, to where if I've built something foundational that allows me to help more people. Because guess what? I promise you this, that number of 1 million people that I help is going to be minuscule, because I know I'm going to blow that number out of the water. And this is actually the first time I've ever said that. I'm going to blow that out of the water because I believe I'm going to, and I know I'm going to, because I'm only going to get better and I'm only going to continue to level up. Yeah. So that's what's up with the robcressy.com strategy, mindset behind all of it. So I wanted to send some good vibes your way and open an invitation for you. If anything that I said today resonates with you, you want to level up your mindset, build your brand, launch a podcast, anything, let's be in conversation and explore how I can help you make that vision happen, because I know that amazing things are on the horizon for you. And when we work together, that will happen. So I hope that you have yourself an amazing day. Hit me up. Let me know what you think about the website. Go to robcressy.com. The newsletter is something that I'm going to be building in the future. So if you want to drop that in, feel free to do so. But other than that, I'm so excited. I want to send this positive energy your way. I hope that you have yourself an amazing rest of the day.